So in order to get to the cross-server group build finder, it's either F8 or this little skull mask symbol here. All you gotta do is click confirm, and you'll be taken to the little mystical screen that is that screen. And that'll bring you to the screen with some pretty awesome badass music. And all you gotta do now is over here on the right, you just gotta select the dungeon you want to go through, which in our case is Blackram Narrows. It's the one where it's actually the one where you have a chance to get the weapon you need to upgrade your Hog Moon weapon up past level 10 and to change it completely. So as you can see, when new people join up with your party, they appear right next to you there, and you get little fancy presentations, and you can see how your group is actually looking. So you can cancel it at any point by pressing the cancel button if you think your group just isn't up to it, but considering the fact that there are no tanks or healers, it really should not matter to you. So once it is complete, you'll be taken to this little Valhalla-ish looking place over here, and in front of the gate, once we load up into it, it does take a little bit sometimes, but not as long as some other things. Okay, so here we are. So somehow I was put as the leader, but anyway, right over here, at least for this dungeon, you can find this guy who has a quest for you. I highly recommend you accept it because it gives you all of that stuff.
And we need your help once more.
So we're just going to accept it, progress to the gate where everybody already went to. And this will actually take us into the dungeon itself. There we go, we can finally talk. So these dungeons can actually they can catch you off guard if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you'll see in a few seconds how I lose half my life in less than a second. So here we are at the beginning of the dungeon, and we are heading all the way to the end of it. Now this is literally like the same area where you can come do a couple quests, except it's on the other side. But anyway, right here is the first mini boss. You can see him right there. And there you go. There is half my life gone right there. So yeah. As you can see, the bosses use the very same skills that players can use. They do the exact same thing, and they do a lot more damage. Now, I'm not really sure if I could have avoided that because I wasn't close enough to see the indicator, but drink a little regen potion and carry on.
You're the home.
We're just going to scroll through this quickly, grab the quests, and keep proceeding. Now, there are plenty of little trash mobs here that you could probably handle by yourself, and as a group are literally a joke. But anyway, there are lots of mini bosses like this guy over here who can do quite a bit of damage. He has an actual name, but he doesn't live that long, and he was charging up some type of storm, which is why I was hanging back. As you can see, our little sword master mistress lady there with the cowboy hat took quite a bit of damage. And here we are, just progressing through all this trash and surviving best we can without taking as much damage. And right here is the very first boss. Now, that statue to the right over there that they are touching actually gives you what is called a dragon blood. Now, that gives you, right there, you can see next to my resource meter, 2 hearts. The one on the far right is the one that would fill up if I had touched it, but I forgot. But anyway, what dragon blood does is that if you would ever be knocked out, it instead heals you up to full health and lets you continue fighting instantly. You get 2 charges inside a dungeon, and you can even have some through some items. Now here I am, avoiding this guy's damage as much as possible, while dealing as much as possible. Now the first time I actually did this, we had no idea what we were doing, and we, as you can see, we are taking damage all over the place. I got knocked down. Luckily, we seem to have plenty of AoE damage, so we take down those guys, and we take them down. Now here's the most interesting thing about dungeons. Instead of having a dice rolling system, you actually bid your in-game gold to win certain things. However, if you feel this is a little bit unfair because the richer get more, wait and hear this. The money that the person that wins the item bids, so say someone bid 10 silver pieces, the one in the middle. So those silver pieces that he betted and bought the item with, between air quotations, would actually be divided between all the other players that didn't get the item. So he is essentially bribing everybody else in the dungeon to let him get the item by paying them in-game money. So in that sense, yes, the richer can get the items they want without anybody being able to contest them, but that means they are basically giving a lot of money to the other people. So they are left with that, with actually something. So at first, before I knew that, I thought it was I was not okay with that system. I thought it was absolute BS. But once that the actually Facebook page told me that the money that they actually buy the item with is divided between the rest of the party players, then I was okay, at least we're definitely getting something, and it used to be his, and we can get a lot of money if someone gets way too greedy and all that other stuff. So here we are, still progressing through a bunch of little trash, a lot of micro bosses. As you can see, one of our Lin Swordmaster right there in the front is taking quite a bit of damage, and he has not healed up. Now, something I forgot to mention is right there on my quest bar over there on the left, you can see a quest that is green. These are called dynamic quests, and they can pop up usually in dungeon-like areas or in actual dungeons themselves. Now, the first one I actually got was inside a little thing I was doing for a quest, and it was kill this giant elite by yourself, and it took me quite a bit to do it. And yeah, I was believing it, but I managed to do it. Now, you can also get them inside dungeons. Now, for this one, we have to kill the final boss, his final form, technically speaking. And the rewards will be absolutely worth it. So if you ever get a, yeah, whatever it is I called it, it's definitely worth doing it. Although I can understand if people don't want to do it later on. If a dungeon is particularly difficult, because it can take them a while and the bosses can be pretty difficult. So, we are still proceeding through the dungeon. We are almost at the final boss. You can see those little hearts on the minimap are the dragon blood statues. They are you should always pay attention to it. Keep your heart stopped off. You never know what might take you down. Maybe these two snipers both targeted me and did good damage and took me down. But here we have another set of mini bosses. So I am going to focus on this one while my party focus on the other one. Because they're bosses, they cannot be knocked down with just one ability. You have to synchronize with your party to use several abilities at the same time that have the same effect, so that a boss is actually knocked down or stunned or knocked into the air and stuff like that. However, as you can see, if you don't actually synchronize and you use two different ones, then you fill up the opportunity bars right below his life bar, and you need to wait more. And as you can see, it is absolutely worth it because they take very little damage and have a lot of life, and do a lot of damage. And here we have these hollow people, but here, I was just making sure I passed on everything. I somehow missed the pass on all button at the very bottom of the screen, because I'm not really interested in any of this stuff, because it's the closed beta. We aren't going to lose anything we work very hard on getting, and honestly, I don't really think I need it. So we are now into the final boss. Proceed forward. Now we are going to skip that little cinematic and proceed straight to the boss. Now I am at half health, and this boss can one-shot you if you're not careful. So I am going to eat one of the dumplings I can make through the cooking profession. Like I said in my profession video, these things can be very, very useful if you don't want to waste potions, or if your potions are particularly good. Now unfortunately I forget to dash there, so I fall and take some damage, but it isn't much. Now as you can see, that little red circle beneath the boss is an ability you cannot block or evade in any way, so backdash, wait for him to do something, dodge him yet again. And this is just his first form. Luckily we're doing some very good damage to him, and he's not going to be alive very long. Now we are going to skip the cinematic, and lo and behold, we have his second form. And remember what I said about damage? Yeah. So here I use a little regen potion to help me stay alive. Backdash just like the other people because we're smart and don't want to take lots of damage. As we can see, one of our sword masters got taken down because he didn't backdash. Now luckily he's going to crawl away and slowly start healing himself up. You can do this an infinite number of times as long as you don't get hit, I think. Where is he? He should probably do it, but we take him down, and that is the end of the dungeon. Now, because I skipped all the cinematics, you have no idea why we ended up here, but that right there that we broke is the loot of the boss. Now, we are, as you can see, there are plenty of things you can get from the boss. People are bidding, but I have absolutely no desire to get anything there. The bango isn't even from me, there's nothing for my class, so I'm just like, pass on all, and then we are going to leave. Now, I was about to leave, like, But as you can see right there below the dynamic quest, it says here, click here to claim reward. Now luckily the game tells you haven't picked up your reward, idiot, so stay here. So I read it, I realize, oh yeah, so move away from the portal, use Alt to move the mouse around, click, and complete. Now this is what is really worth from this dungeon, and repeating the quest you got at the very beginning in that little Valhalla area. You can get anything from that, and you get quite a bit of them. And it's actually good because inside this chest specifically is where I got the weapon I needed to break through to my new weapon that I'm currently using. And as you can see, we got quite a bit of things.
The next auction will start.
And it is absolutely worth it. So that is how dungeons work in this game. As you can see, you better keep your money up if you want to win some kind of very rare item or outfit. So yeah, hopefully you found that useful. And oh yeah, we are going back to the Valhalla area to turn in that quest that we got at the very beginning. And yeah, that is Old Man Joe. He is very weird, but he is actually important in the story, so we gotta deal with him. But anyway, we are back here. Apparently there's a couple vendors and a fire over there where you can repair your weapon.
I've been waiting for you.
But approach, complete weapon, and there we go. Now I have plenty of keys, so I decided to go with the stones for whatever reason.
Your heroism will not go unrewarded. Thank you again.
And yeah, so I go with these that you can eventually trade for soul shields and stuff. But anyway, that is a dungeon. Hopefully you found it useful. Hopefully you learned about the loot system. And I will see you in the next Blade and Soul video, whenever that is.